I tell people victory propels victory. You kind of get your first victory, it motivates you for chasing down and win in the second one. You get your second one, it gives you the momentum to chase the third one.
I tell this to my teams also that when we make our first business plan, we are making a lot of assumptions in that business plan, right? We might need to fine tune it.
Hi, Randeep, and hi, all our viewers and people who are listening to this podcast. My name is Rashmi Mohanty. I am the CFO of a large credit card company, a mother to two, and a very passionate ultra marathoner. I've been now doing long distance running for the last 15 years. And hopefully, in this podcast, along with my friend Randeep, we should be able to share with you our learnings in this really very long journey that we've had on the running scene, how it's helped us shape our personality, how it has helped us in our professional career as well.
Hi, I'm Randeep. Randeep Singh Arora is a full name. I've been primarily working in the clothing industry for about 35 years now and have worked across various sectors, have worked across various organizations and across the country in various locations. During that time, I've also had, at some point got hooked onto the running journey, and it's been amazing the kind of uh, people that I've met, the kind of experiences I've met. And fortunately, Rashmi and I both know each other through this journey, running journey of ours. And we are happy to share what we've learned, what we've experienced, and how we're going to take this forward, in our journey. So, you know, happy to be part of this podcast. And the first thing that actually comes to mind is that, you know, you've been doing these ultras and, events across and your regular marathons also. And so, how has it in any way changed your approach towards your work or how you look at it or how you approach different tasks that new or difficult tasks that come across your way?
Randeep, I tell people, in fact, I don't tell people, people who've known me for a very long time tell me that Rashmi of 15 years back, before I became a long distance runner to where I am today, I'm a very different Rashmi. The way I look at um, issues, the way I look at life in general as a whole, I would say, it's completely changed. But one big thing that I have learned from my running journey and which has now become applicable to everything that happens in my life is this whole attitude of never give up. As runners, DNF is something that we don't like. We do sometimes call it quits, and that's taken as a very tough call. But to be a sensible runner and a runner who wants to stay in the field for a very long time, there are these tough calls that we take. But usually we kind of pick up a task, pick up a run. I would like to finish it off the way we had planned it. And that is one particular thing that has also helped me quite a lot when I look back and think about how I've shaped up as a person while I'm dealing with people across in my social circles, whether it is my immediate family or my extended family, and also professionally. Every time that I am given a certain project, which in my mind initially looks like something difficult to do, but I kind of take it on and say, yes, I have to finish it. So that's one big lesson that I have picked up from my running journey. And related to that, the second one that I picked up, which is that no problem is big enough. Every down into into small problems. And as long as you keep ticking off and checking the box for one problem at a time, you will definitely get there. And that is how, you would also agree with me on that one, that this is how we do all our long runs. So if you have a
Right,
100 kilometer that you have to do, you just break it down into
right.
425
Ex-
kilometers or
ex-
520 kilometers. And you,
exactly. As breaking it, like we've done some of these stadium runs, and people tell
yes,
me how you keep running in a circle. I said, I break it down into one lap.
yeah,
So I'm looking at just that next 400 meters, and then it becomes so easy. So
absolutely.
I think that's really one of the best things you said is the ability to break down your task into smaller subtasks. And it's so easy to do it in your work life also. You look at the
Yeah.
task as a whole, it looks so overbearing at times, you know. But
Yeah. I
you
still
know,
remember, and you would remember because I'd taken your help to register myself for the Bangalore Ultra, which was my first
yeah,
100K. It was a loop of 25K. And I still remember walking into that field in the morning and I told myself, I said, I'm not thinking about 100. I'm thinking about the first 25. Once I've done the first 25, I'll think about the next 25 and then the next 25 and then the last 25 that I have to do. And that is what kept me going that day on the field by breaking it all up into smaller parts to say, let me not get overwhelmed by a big 100K number in my head.
yeah,
Let me just think about um, the
absolutely.
first
It's one
25.
loop at a time or one sub distance at a time,
Yeah,
and it
absolutely.
just seems so much more manageable.
And but tell me something, it's something that I would like you to also share with the viewers that even if you break it down into smaller parts to manage, how do you keep yourself motivated to continue on the next loop? You've done the first one and you've done it well, but how do you motivate yourself to think about the next one and the one after that?
I think so when you've broken it down, I think it's important to look at what you achieved in the last one, you know.
Yeah.
So one is that. The other, I think, very important thing is that first set of sub targets that you set yourself. And I think of it even in my work, right? Exactly, I do the same thing in my business targets that I set for myself. The first set of targets have to always be achievable, have to be realistic, achievable. That's what motivates you. Once you start hitting those targets, that's what motivates you to to hit the targets going forward. I whenever I even have talks with my teams and all, I always talk about sports as a this thing. You look at it as an example in cricket. A team, when they bat first, they can score 250. But
Mm.
chasing down, half the times the teams lose their this thing if they have to chase down 250,
Mm. Mm.
because you mentally make it so difficult for yourself, you know. So if you can set your first targets which are achievable and then slowly keep upping the target, and you have to naturally train yourself.
Of course.
Similarly, in the business, this thing, you have to set your business targets, create a path for yourself, how you're going to approach customers, how you're going to do your sampling, whatever. So you create those sub tasks for yourself within that larger task.
Right.
And I think then you just look at the positives you're gaining from your previous task and then move on to the next one.
Yeah. I tell people victory propels victory. You kind
Absolutely.
of get your first victory, it motivates you for chasing down and win in the second one. You get your second one, it gives you the momentum to chase the third one. So victory always propels victory. So I totally agree with you. You start off with manageable, achievable targets. You get on a high because you've managed to get there,
Yeah.
and then that puts you in the field, on the track, or wherever you are in the business for the next goal. Then I agree with
So,
that.
so any specific examples, Rashmi, of something that you've been able to learn from, from your work, from your running this thing and being able to implement it in your work life with us? Fairly
Yeah.
specific thing that you might have done.
So, I started running in 2010. Around the same time, I also not around the same time I did change my job as well. But 5 years down, I again changed my jobs, and this job required me to travel to Noida for the first 3 or 4 months, and the way we prepare ourselves mentally for that pain or that suffering that you will go through, whether it's a 4-hour marathon or a 5-hour marathon, or it's a 12-hour ultra marathon or a 24-hour ultra marathon, you prepare yourself by saying, let me not crib and let me be prepared for the pain and the suffering that I have to go through. And that kind of also mentally prepares you for what is going to come onto you while you're on the track.
Right.
And trust me, Randeep, that's exactly how I looked at that 4-month journey because that was a time when I stay in Gurgaon, and traveling to Noida at that time used to be almost like a 2.5, 3 hour affair. So 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours in the car. So that whole mindset of preparing myself
Yeah.
for what I will be going through um, has that particular incident I clearly remember that helped me lessen the pain I was going through at that point in time of commuting from Gurgaon to Noida, not seeing my kids. For days, I would just go without spending time with them. And I just kept telling myself, no, it's just a matter of another 4 months, another 3.5 months, another 3 months. And that is what kept me going. So I guess and I think that's something that I'm sure you will bring out in your experiences as well. The way it makes you mentally strong, and any kind of sport. I'm not just talking about running. I'm sure
Yeah, yeah.
people who go to the gym, people who play tennis, people who play golf, they kind of build this mental strength, which is what helps them overcome or be able to bear or able to kind of go through life's challenges as well. So
Right.
that's one
100%.
particular incident that I definitely remember where it helped me to kind of get through that very brief 4 month period, but a very difficult period given I was not being able to spend time with my kids and I was on the road for almost like 5.5 hours. So, but tell me, Randeep, this whole being able to picturize, being able to visualize the end goal. Have you ever done that in your training cycles? Ever, whenever you're training for a marathon, does that help you?
Yeah, so normally I tell people so many times that unless I register for an event, I don't train well. So my runs then are are not structured. I just go out for a run a few kilometers, come back. But when I register for an event and create an end goal for myself, right? Then I work backwards, you
Hmm.
know, and you create a plan for yourself. So that plan for an ultra would be an absolutely different plan from what you would do for a marathon. And it's amazing what you learn going through these various processes. Early days, like you, I was also primarily focusing only on ultras.
Yeah.
And running ultras, I thought that, running a marathon and increasing pace in my marathon is not going to be any issue because I was running 80 to 100 kilometers a week and I thought I'm king. But you realize that you need to change,
The
if you want
entire
to
training.
just
Oh, yeah.
finish a marathon, it's a different thing. But if you want
Yeah.
to improve your timing in a marathon, your approach has to be totally different.
Yeah.
So, uh, unless you bring that structure to what you do, it's, it's very difficult to do it. So I always like to register for an event and then work backwards, make a plan for myself. I Same thing, exactly the same way. I For the last few years now at my workplace, I make my
Yeah.
business goals accordingly. I sit down with a piece of paper. I might be in an absolutely new organization, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if I have come here for a role of setting up, say, a business unit in an organization, there are a certain expectations from me. And I will set a goal and then create the backward part towards that goal. You know, that I think is probably been one of my strongest learnings from running. Again, it's the same thing. When you create a backward goal, you're creating sub goals for yourself.
Yeah.
Sub goals, sub tasks, what you need to do to achieve it. It's not just something that you created in the air. You broken it into an yearly goal. That yearly goal is broken into quarterly goals. That quarterly goal is giving you monthly to dos. That monthly goal is giving you weekly to daily to dos to do.
Yeah.
And it's creating that same thing for your team. So it's
Absolutely.
amazing what just putting that end goal in front of you makes such a difference.
Makes such a big difference, true. And which is why, when I was talking about my earlier example as well, there are in finance, we've got these lean periods and we've got this really very high intensity, high workload periods. So
Very.
the period from January till May, almost like 4, 5 months, is a very hectic period for us because
Yeah,
we're
I'm sure.
closing the books, we are preparing a budget for the next year, and the entire audit process and the entire annual results with the annual report to be prepared, published, and everything. So it becomes a very hectic period for the finance team. And that's how I've been motivating my team as well by saying them, just visualize the end goal. The visualize
Right.
that by end of May, you'll be free from all of this, you know. So just add, it's a finite time period. So if you're starting in January end or February, it's a period of almost like 4 months where you'll have to go through this pain.
Right.
But then at the end of the day, you will have your annual report in front of you, your financials signed and everything else done. And which is where I guess your point around breaking down the entire period into smaller goals, saying, okay, my first month I'll do this, my
Right.
second month I'll start the audit, but only that part of the audit. By April, my audit will peak, and therefore the I may have to spend longer hours at work and be mentally prepared for that. And that really helps in terms of being able to uh, manage really very high intensity periods at workplace as well. That has helped me quite a lot as well,
Right.
as you said.
So on this note, Rashmi, you would, being in senior positions, leadership positions, you're also working cross functionally while, your main area is finance.
Yeah.
But naturally, to achieve your goals, you're working with various people, right? Various people, various departments. While, you understand your goals, at times it's not so easy to have everybody else's buy-in, right? So how are you able to do that?
What has worked for me really is to be able to have that connect with other teams. And it's not just a connect at the top level. So it's not that, for example, if I'm working with and if I have to complete a project or some work with the marketing team or the sales team or the operations team, and therefore limit my interaction with just the head of operations or at the CXO level. I try and connect with the senior most person in the team and also maybe one or two level down as well. Because while you may have communicated what is it that you would like to achieve together with the CXO, sometimes the messaging gets lost in
Right.
transition,
Absolutely.
right? And therefore, it's important for me to directly connect with those people as well to let them know why is this particular project important, and at their level, make them individually accountable for what is it that I'm expected of them and who in my team will be connecting with them to get that thing done.
Right.
So, so to build that kind of a trust and that rapport with the CXO and at least two level down is very important. And I think if you just leave it at the CXO level and you get into some ego tussles or the fact that or in uh, a belief that that person's going to translate that everything down at the
Right.
bottom, I would rather do it myself. That also gets me to listen in and understand their issues
I
because
agree.
they can tell me directly, Rashmi, I think this sounds great, but this is how I feel it may be done better, or this is where I feel there could be a challenge. So that has really helped me in terms of building that connect, and also,
And you get
doing,
that buy-in also, na?
and
You
you get
get
a
that
buy-in
next
because,
level's
yeah,
buy-in,
exactly.
and they become the owners actually,
Look, otherwise they keep waiting for their head of the function to kind
Right.
of come in and step in and say, "Karna hai ki nahi karna hai." But then
Exactly.
you make them accountable. You get their buy-in. You make them, you get them connected with somebody, whoever in your team is going to be working on that particular part of the project, and that gets going. And that is how you kind of get that buy-in and you kind of get
Right.
that project going in organization. So to me, and Randeep, actually, if you see and if you go back and think about how we do our running, isn't this what we do with our fellow runners as well? Hey, look, I've got this particular training plan that I'm working on, and I need to do these runs. If we run together, this is what I'm going to be doing, and can you help me? I still remember when I was
Some
training
of our
for.
craziest runs, early days, that's how we used to
That's how we
run.
do
With
it.
no
I mean,
social media also, we
yeah,
used to connect in mails.
absolutely. And that is exactly, I remember still till about 2 years back, I was training for, I think one of my 100Ks only. And I used to tell Princey, I used to tell him, okay, I'm going to do the first 15. And then for the last 15, come and join me here. And so set the expectations of what I want from him. And he's clear as to what I'm looking to achieve as well. That I'm
True.
looking to
Absolutely.
achieve the 15 kilometer at a certain pace. And I've told him very clearly what I expect from him as well, that I would like him to pace me at this pace only and not go very fast or go very
Right.
slow. But that's how communication is an integral part of how we operate, whether it's
Absolutely.
in our running space or whether it's in the organization. That I think is something which is really very important to get things going.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is very important. This this whole thing about running together, Randeep, reminds me that you moved to Bangalore for a in between for a brief
Yeah.
while, not a brief while, for a very long time.
5.5 years. Yeah.
And I still remember being completely shocked when we heard about your heart story, your heart,
Yeah.
when you got hospitalized, and we were completely shocked here in Gurgaon, all your friends, as to what really happened. And that must have been a tough period where you have to reconcile with the fact that you are not as fit as what you were just a day prior
Yeah.
to go running.
Absolutely.
Okay? And you get these setbacks in business, in the workplace as well.
You,
So why don't you just share with us, how did you, first of all, how difficult, not easy, but how difficult was it for you to accept that it isn't the same Randeep uh, who was running a day prior fit and fine, and the very next day in the hospital ICU room and being diagnosed with heart blockage, etc. And then I'd also like you to talk to us about, how did you bounce back from it? Because that story is amazing, how you slowly build yourself back up again. But more importantly, the reconciliation, the acceptance of the fact that this hasn't worked. It's failed. I mean, I'm using a corporate
yeah.
scenario to say, I tried something, I was doing very well, but suddenly things collapse around me and has failed. And for you, it was about saying my system, my body has failed. How difficult or how easy was it to accept, and what did you tell yourself?
So this is going to take a little time. It's going to
Yeah.
be because it was a pretty crazy phase, and I think people should hear about it. So I had actually come back from New York 2 days back, and
Yes.
there's this uh, gentleman from Blackstone. Blackstone was invested in Gokuldas Exports at that time. Whenever he was in Bangalore, he would love to meet for a run. I was wearing my running gear and going to leave for a run, and I suddenly, started getting a very bad cold sweat, and I felt very uneasy. I just woke up Rajni and told her, let's go to the hospital. And fortunately for us, the hospital was within the residential complex that we were staying in. We reached there, and I opened the door and fell on the floor. And, they picked me up, reeled me in, and all that. The thing is, the way we think is so funny. And that was the year I was going to be turning 50.
Yeah.
As my gift to myself, I was going to be starting my world major journey. So I had got my entry into the Chicago World Majors, which was just around my birthday weekend. So it had all been planned to perfection, and it was working very well. And suddenly I'm being wheeled in when I got my conscious back, and I said, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh shit, Chicago gone.
God.
I'm not even thinking that I'm probably dying right now, or I could have died. First thing that came to mind, Chicago gone. Then I said, Bombay also gone, most probably. And I'm being wheeled in. And fortunately, so, fortunately for me, because of being a runner, uh, I didn't need a surgery or anything because there was a blockage and it could be removed there were no clogging. There was a blockage
How
because
much
of a
time did
clot.
it take you to finally accept that Chicago and Bombay are gone? Was it instant, or did you still kept it?
No, so I wasn't 100% sure, but a week later, when met with the doctor
Uh,
after I'd been released, he
uh,
told me that you can't run marathons right now.
Wow.
So uh, I quietly went back
Uh,
and I decided to run the 12-hour stadium run in December in this thing.
you didn't give up still.
So Rajni told me, she said, what the hell are you talking about? So I said,
Yeah.
he said, no, marathons. He didn't say anything about ultras. So for me, so while it might sound very stupid, and I'm not saying anybody should necessarily do it, but what my mindset there was that I don't want to die also, right?
Yeah.
The advantage of doing a stadium run is you're not carrying any distance baggages. So
Good.
I was at my pace. I was going to go with the way I'm going to feel. it was very difficult to even get an entry. Nagraj was his event in Delhi. He eventually had a heart specialist sitting there on call with, those electronic machines to give me emergency this thing. But nothing happened. And so while, my initial days were spent in a lot of self sympathy, it was by me, how, with everyone,
Completely me. I'm such a
and I'm running
runner.
in,
I'm a
but
runner.
then it was totally the opposite,
Yeah.
because I realized I got saved because of running. The
Yeah.
heart actually apparently forms something called a collateral,
Yeah.
whereby it bypasses the arteries and starts pumping blood into the heart.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
because of that, I got saved. So, and my doctor told me, he says, in a week's time, he told me, get back to running, slow and steady, but get back to running as soon as you can.
So basically,
Ah,
Randeep, shit happens, but there's
yeah,
always a plan B, right?
yeah, there is always a plan B, and there is always, you need to just find, okay, this didn't work, this is what I need to do now, and this is how I'll come back. So next year I started my journey again, and was back on track.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so one, there's always a plan B, and two, if you're doing a comeback, it has to be very well planned as well as your
Yeah,
programs are.
slow and easy. So next year again I started with Chicago,
Yeah.
and then I completed my world majors
I
journey in
know we did it.
2022.
I was there when you had finished your sixth world major in London.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. What a phenomenal day. And you
what
got
a
your PB as well that time.
yeah, I got a
That was
PB
your
as
marathon
well.
PB as well. Yeah. So from a
Yep.
point where you are being wheeled into the ICU, into the hospital, and to a point a few years later where you actually finished all the six world majors with a PB in the last one that you did. So
Yeah.
amazing comeback. Amazing
So
comeback.
that never give up is, what you said, Rashmi,
Wow.
is so true, because we can all die in self sympathy and, feel
Wow.
bad about ourselves.
Yeah.
Or we can say, okay, this happened, and, this is how I need to fight back. This is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Have a plan. And same thing, like you said, works in business also. I might make a business plan, and I tell this to my teams also, that when we make our first business plan, we are making a lot of assumptions in that
True.
business plan, right?
True. True.
We might need to fine tune it,
Yes.
but if you don't stay on top of it, you'll never be able to fine tune it also.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't go to the end of the year and say, oh, I didn't meet the target. You
Yep.
should know what you're going to do to achieve it if you're failing because of some reason.
Absolutely.
So I think
Absolutely.
it's pretty amazing, how it works.
Yeah. True. Very true. Very true. Very
So
interesting.
have you Rashmi, been able to bring any of your fitness, this thing, into your work culture or into your office space, being able to influence some people
Oh,
to
yeah, yeah, yeah. Not in my current office or organization that I work for. So far, I've had a few people who, let me put it this way, not in my immediate team in the current organization, but I've been able to put together a set of people who have been influenced, inspired by my running journey to start with a 5K or a 10K in Vedanta Delhi Half
Wow.
Marathon, who are now some of them moving on to a 21K distance this year from a 10K last year. So that is very encouraging. But in my earlier organizations, within my team as well, there have been a lot of people who actually have taken inspiration and have taken up running. And Randeep, I can't tell you how it fills my heart with so much of gratitude and also with love as well that I've been able to inspire people to come out of their lazy mode or lethargic mode.
Yeah.
And I tell people you don't have to be very fast. It's up to you how you kind of train and how
Yeah.
your body adapts to how what your training program is and how much you can run distance and at what speed. But just come out and do something, whether it's running, whether it is going to the gym, whether it is doing yoga. And it's
Yeah.
very nice to hear when people come back. And even now, sometimes when we go to these events and I have people who come up and say, hey, Rashmi, you know what? I started running because of you. I used to listen to you or I used to hear about you. And I used to say, if she can find time and if she can do it, why can't I find that half an hour, 1 hour or whatever 3-4 hours in a week to go for a run. So
Absolutely, because everybody's one simple excuse is I don't have
I don't
time.
have
I work
time.
so hard, you know,
Exactly.
and it's basically, like they say, you find, that you don't have time, you find time to do it.
Absolutely. And especially women runners. Randeep, you'll remember when we started running, I used to be one of the very few women runners you would see on the
Yeah,
roads.
oh, yeah,
And today, when you step out, you have women running alone. I mean, at that time, you couldn't even
yeah.
think of running alone given the safety situation that is there in the Delhi NCR. But now you see so many women on the road and really kind of setting up such uh, benchmarks for everybody. And some of them when they come up and they tell me as well that we've been seeing you run for a very long time and you've inspired. It's such a great feeling, and
Mm.
that's what true leadership is also, right? To be able to
Absolutely.
inspire your team on the right path. And which is where the whole messaging that you give to your team is so important, and how you
Absolutely.
inspire them is so important. So yeah, I've had a lot of people who've come up and have told me that I've helped them in some way or the other, and that fills me, as I said, with a
It's
lot of
it's
gratitude as
fantastic,
well.
and because at some point that's also going to affect them in their professional life. That
Absolutely.
kira, how it
Elkida,
affected us and helped
yes,
us,
you've got to help them as well.
will is going to help them at some point.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
said, there are times when I'm running a marathon,
Uh,
and in terms of inspiration, I'll see somebody who's probably 10 years older than me, who's like probably going, really fast, but I also know at the same time that they're youngsters half my age looking
yes,
at me
yeah,
and saying, "Man, this guy's going good." So
absolutely.
it's amazing how you across you get inspired and you inspire others. It's such
Yeah.
a seamless kind of a beautiful thing that happens
Yeah,
along
as
with
as
it.
they say, sometimes you can't pay it back, so you pay it forward.
Yeah,
That's the way you pay
absolutely,
it forward, by
absolutely,
inspiring the other person in front of you to take up something which is very healthy and good for them,
absolutely.
physically and mentally both. It's like a meditation in a way when you're on your own on the
100%.
roads.
That 1.5 hours that you have with yourself in the morning, I think it sets you up for the day.
Yeah, but tell me something, Randeep. There might be some people in your team who may say running is not for me. Then how do you encourage self care? How do you encourage them for their own wellness, mental well being? What do you tell them?
So I normally like to have these once in at least 2 weeks, a meeting with my leadership team again, which will go down one or two levels lower depending on the organization that I'm
Right.
working with, because it just doesn't help working with the absolute direct reportees, like you were also saying.
Yeah.
And I normally have these, discussions where I normally share anecdotes from sports. It's
Mhm.
always, it could be Michael Jordan for teamwork. It could be things like, Formula One for me is the best teamwork. The tire change that happens in the pit stop. There's nothing that shows better teamwork than
Yeah.
that.
True.
It. So I normally like to use those as anecdotes. In terms of people, again, I always share my journey, and I've seen you also, Rashmi, at early days. You were also quite healthy, wealthy Punjabi kid, and so was I. I weighed about 104 kgs at some point, and today weigh 75. And I show them those photographs at times and tell them,
Yeah.
and I tell them that it's not just running. I mean, running is a space that I found for myself, but it
Right.
could be cycling, it could be yoga, it could be swimming. The only thing that I normally say is the advantage with running is you can run anywhere.
It's easy.
You
It's easy.
it's easy. With swimming, it can be seasonal, it can be availability issue.
Travel,
With
access to a
shoes,
pool. Yeah.
especially in the kind of jobs that we've been in, the travel is so extensive that you just need a pair of running shoes and probably a Garmin, and you're done. And I
Yeah.
think it's one of the best ways of exploring a city. I
Yeah.
mean, I reach a new city and the first thing, I'm dying to go for a run the next day
Yeah.
morning,
Yeah.
because that's the most
So,
exciting part.
whenever we've traveled now for vacation, and it's been many years now, the day I land in a new country, new city, the next day morning, whatever time I would have slept, or whatever be the time difference between the two countries, etc., I first in the morning lace up my shoes and go for a run and take a, just understand the layout of the city. And
Yeah,
it's so nice because, and I've actually visited all tourist places in the morning on the run when they're completely empty. There's not a single person of those places. And you visit them with the family in the afternoon and you can't even find a place to put your feet in there. So,
I
and
see.
it's such a different experience. But yeah, it's so easy.
And
It's so
you
easy.
see you see it with such a different perspective, so
Absolutely. Yeah.
i I've also fortunately have had the good fortune that I've been able to get a few people, like there's this gentleman in my Fab India team who's now very seriously into cycling,
Okay.
and does a lot of long distance cycling, this thing,
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
me, one of my biggest things right now is that my son's got into running,
Yeah,
and
I saw that
we
post of yours. That
you
was
know,
amazing
yeah,
to get your kids
we
into it.
ran a half marathon in
Yeah,
Pune together in December. I think
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was probably one of the, and without really saying it, it was just, it. He got inspired, and he also has a crazy work schedule. He's
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
flight. He's traveling 20 days a month.
Uh,
He's early morning shoots and all that, but
right.
he's find time now and he's loving it, so
Yeah, right.
it's just such a great feeling to be able to,
Absolutely. It's an
like you said,
amazing
paid forward,
paid
it's a good
forward.
thing.
Absolutely. Paid forward. True, true, true. Let me ask
So
you one more question, Randeep.
sorry. Ah,
We always, you are more into operations and I'm more of a finance person. And I've always wondered that is there a linkage to operational excellence in running and in your manufacturing setup? Can you equate the two in any way? Is there some
100%.
Mhm.
So like I said, like I'll give you the example. We my last assignment in with GE in Bhopal,
Huh.
where we were setting up a plant from scratch.
Okay.
So when you set up a plant from scratch and you go into these places, you go into a place like Bhopal because there's no trained labor available.
Right.
So you have to set up training schools and
Mhm.
everything, right? So, and it's an area of work that I'd never done before also,
Okay.
because I'd mostly gone into organizations where there are
Already set
factories
up
that are set up,
system. Yeah.
or if new factories are being set up, it's an app, there's a support team that's doing it,
Yeah. Or it's
so
just a replica of what you've done before. You take the same model and you put it there.
right.
Mhm.
So here, and you have trained labor available. So if I'm setting up a new factory in Bangalore, it's much easier, on in
Mhm.
Gurgaon, because trained labor is available. So here you're starting from absolutely scratch, right? So I went, and there were areas of the factory construction was still happening
Mm.
when I went there. So the first one month or so, I sat down, I was looking at all that, again, new aspects for me. But then again, like I told you in the beginning, I set deadlines for myself. So
Mm.
what is the first task that I needed to achieve? I needed to start the training center,
Mm.
because unless I start training workers, and it won't, my next step, the factory setup won't start. So we set a deadline, and what I'd like to do in a case like this is I commit.
Yeah.
So I went and met my boss, my MD in Bangalore, and I said, these are the next three milestones I've set, which is setting up of the training center. We needed to get our compliances going, and for that, physical factory needed to get it. And the third was starting our first production lines. I went and made a commitment to
Mm.
him. I got the entire team to buy in first.
Mm.
So like you said in the beginning, I what I do is, so if I've created those targets, I will do that. But then, supposing my HR head needs to set up the training center,
Right.
I need his buy-in.
Yes.
My compliance head needs to make sure that the factory gets compliant from fire safety, from physical aspects and everything. And my training head needs to make sure that the training center starts. So these people's buy-in I take, and they make them the owners. And I go and commit, and I come back and say, now these dates don't change. So supposing It's that same thing. So supposing London marathon is going to happen on the 2nd of October, that date's not changing, right?
That is not.
You need to work backwards, right?
And
So
then
that
start your
same principle, see, you set that target and then break it down for yourself, and then you say it's non-compromisable,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
And
So
maybe also every marathon there is something that you come, both the training and the race, you learn something, you come back, and then you use that in the next one as well to become a better
100%.
runner, whether it is your speed, whether it is your posture, whatever be it, your breathing technique, whatever it is, that you come back and you also put that in there.
So we talk about the negative split, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Such an important part, right?
Absolutely.
And I keep telling everybody right now that it's underrated. Starting slow and then picking up pace, like we were talking about, even in terms of our business plans, right?
Right.
It's such an important part of what we do, because if you start too fast, you're going to mess up. The same thing
You're
happens in
gonna get burnt
business.
out completely. Yeah.
Same thing happens in businesses.
So
If you do not, because if you start slow, you can build up your customer
uh,
base, you can make a
yeah,
satisfied
yeah,
customer,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can make sure your internal systems and processes are
Yeah.
set so that those next steps of the today you're doing 10 crores, you want to go to 20 crores, that will happen automatically if your base is correct.
True.
But if your base is not correct, it's not going to happen. So I think
Absolutely.
operational excellence, and again, so much I've learned from here that I've used in the last 5-10 years.
Yeah,
I can just go on and on and on, it's
absolutely. I think
amazing.
same here, Randeep. The kind of lessons that I've learned from running, which I've taken, as I said earlier, into my personal and professional life, never give up. The other thing is, nothing just phases me now. You can
Yeah.
bring on whatever you want to bring on. And we've seen it. There are instances in our running journey where you get injured and you step back, but you don't give up. There are instances where you're running, especially in ultras, where you have to think on the fly. You have to act on the fly. But it isn't that a particular problem that you're facing just completely damages you or makes you sit down and say, oh, enough. ये तो हो नहीं सकता. You don't think like that anymore. You
Wow.
start thinking of a solution. Next, okay, I can't do this. What do I do next? Okay, I'm having a stomach problem. Maybe I should stop eating this, but I should start focusing on this one. Maybe my heart rate is going up, too much right now because the weather is very hot. How do I slow down my pace so that I can continue for a longer
Yeah.
distance? You kind of adapt to the situation, but nothing, as I said earlier, phases you. Nothing kind of disturbs you that it can't be done or it's something which is not solvable.
So many important. So one of the best lessons I learned. So my first bhatti that I tried, which is that 100 miler,
Yeah,
I couldn't finish it because
yeah. By the way,
I
I also didn't
got a
finish
heat
my
stroke.
first 100 miler, then went back to finish it last year.
Wow. So I didn't finish it, and
Wow.
that year, in terms of training,
Yes.
I have never trained like that in my life.
Yeah.
I was literally, I did 3 full night runs,
Yes.
where I was running for 10, 12
Learn.
hours in this thing. But post that, today, fortunately, there's so much information available. I
Yes.
read a lot.
Yes.
It's not just about running.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in business. It's not just about one aspect.
Yeah.
It's not about marketing.
It's
So
everything
your
that has to come
hydration
together.
strategy,
True.
your eating strategy, what is going to sit in with you for those 24, 30
Right.
hours,
Right.
what your all that, if you don't understand, it's not going to work. And one of the
Absolutely.
best lessons, I spoke to this guy in the US, who's one of the Indian guy who's an ultra runner there. He told me, he says, when your ultra starts, he says, walk the first 5 minutes. He says, let everybody go. He says, the race is only with yourself. He said,
Absolutely.
you get into a race. It's really been one of the most amazing lessons that I've learned in
True.
my life.
True.
And
True.
I actually implement that in my first, like when I went to Bhopal, it was a new business for me.
Right.
The factory was starting from
Yeah.
scratch. It's a public limited company. So there are a lot of pressures on numbers. I didn't get into that. I told
Right.
my boss, I said, this is what I can do in the first
Right.
year.
Right.
Acceptable or not acceptable is your this thing. I'm not going to push it beyond that, because then I'm going to fail.
Absolutely.
you know
And
so it's very important to be able to, yes, you need to push yourself. I'm not
yeah.
setting easy targets,
Yeah.
but at some point, if I have to look at my motivation, my team's motivation, and that will come out of meeting your small milestones.
Yeah,
It
true.
won't come
And I'll
otherwise.
just share one last thing, which is what I, tell people, especially youngsters, and I've got two young kids at home as well, and where there's this whole talk about how am I going to get paid? What is my salary? And I always tell them that you're on it for the long run. Don't start thinking about your salary on day one or the first month or the first year. You're in it here for a very long run. Think about building your capabilities. Think about building your abilities. Think about building your credibility in in the field that you are in. Because if you do
Absolutely.
that, you will get rewarded in the end, just like us, because if you stay the course and you don't get burnt out in the first half of the race or the first
Yeah,
20 kilometers or 10 kilometers, and you stay the course with a planned strategy, you will reach the finish line. You will reach the finish
100%.
line as you planned. So, that's what I keep telling people as well. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So don't think about
Absolutely.
your next month's salary or what increment am I going to get next year or what promotion I'm going to get next year. But you're in it here for a very long time, and therefore think strategically and plan well to get to the finish
Absolutely.
line.
So
So
one thing, Rashmi, you've been working, while primarily in the finance region, but you've worked across various large organizations, and I'm sure they all have different ways, methodologies or systems and processes. Is it difficult to adapt, especially when you go in senior leadership positions, and how do you adapt?
so it is difficult. I wouldn't say it is not difficult. It is just like how when you're moving from a very fast training for a fast 21K to an ultra marathon, you have to adapt to a very different kind of a training plan, a
Yeah,
different, more importantly, a very different kind of a mindset. In a 21K, you've got a very short window to go finish your run and you'd like to finish it fast.
right.
Whereas an ultra, as you mentioned, you got to take it slowly. You got to start slowly so that you can stay the course for a very long time. So
Right.
it is the same in organizations as well. I actually think of it more as an ultra, where I go into the new organization. I take my time to understand what the processes are, um, build up the trust and the rapport with people around me, whoever I have to work with. Don't overcommit, but actually over deliver. So take it
Absolutely.
easy, and it's like an ultra. They said, so take it easy in the first few months into the new job. Try and understand what that organization's culture is. So
100%.
all of these things have helped me, and I've changed quite a few jobs in the last 10, 15 years, and that's really helped me to find my place eventually in that organization. Uh, because if you actually go in thinking that you've been brought in here to change the scene for them, nobody will accept you. So you have to start slowly. You have to build that trust very importantly with the others, that it is their best
100%.
interest that
100% agree
you
with
have
you.
in heart, and that you're not here to ruffle, to make any big changes, etc. Whatever changes along the way is something that all of us together will agree on and get the buy-in as we've been talking about. And
Yeah,
then
100%.
that is how,
Absolutely, and similarly, I exactly, somebody, there are times people have asked me, that, you've changed a lot of jobs in senior leadership positions. So I said, look at it as an advantage. I
yeah,
have the ability to adapt, right? And like you rightly said, it's so important that the first few months, I believe that an organization's reach somewhere because they have
yes,
a
love
certain set
sense.
of skill levels, right?
Yeah,
And I can't go in there thinking that, I'm Bond who's been called in to, correct the situation, right?
true,
So
true.
first, if you spend the first few months understanding the strengths and probably the weaknesses of the
Yes,
organization also, you then get into a situation where, you get the people to buy into the changes that you
that you
that you're
want.
making, because they realize that what you're saying is better from what they were doing, and if those changes, you do it in a small way without being too disruptive about the whole thing,
Yeah.
then it normally, people are far more
Yeah,
acceptable to the whole thing.
absolutely.